works now? Alright, thanks, Ugri. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name's Alex. I go by the tag Redkeekee on FFA Masters League. I'm starting off something that I'd like to start doing after every round going forward. I'm going to do a little review, and I'm going to try to assess, an idea or a thought, something that I took away from the round's matches. And I'd like to make it a recurring thing after each round, as I mentioned. As I said, my name's Alex. I apologize, I have a sinus infection, so if I sound like a dying animal on this cast, you'll have to bear with me. I apologize. But I go by tag Redkeekee. I've been playing free-for-all since Season 12. I've had a lot of stuff going on in my life lately, so I haven't had as much time to put into my gameplay, but I still love to watch and analyze and discuss and think. So it gave me the idea to do this little review, this little powwow here, I guess, after each round. So I've seen all the rounds. Let's just jump into the games here. The theme of this week's, or this round's review cast, Redkeekee's round review, is why did I get 5 points? A lot of times we spend a lot of time after games talking about the winner, what choices they made, what made them win, what strategies they used, who they attacked, when they attacked, how they teamed. But for newer players, a lot of times you find yourself going, I died first again. I died first again. Why did I get rushed out? What's wrong with my strategy? Where did I get unlucky, or was it something I did? And so I think that with the increase in community, increase in our community here, I think a lot of players might benefit from hearing about getting started, about not that anybody that was eliminated in this round, not that everybody's new, but there's a lot to be taken away from why was I eliminated first, how can I avoid doing that in the best, and what can we learn from these games. So jumping into the first game, we're going to follow our good friend Persuade. I've been playing free-for-all and Warcraft 3 with Persuade for many years now. It's a good player, very good micro, very solid play, a lot of free-for-all experience, more than me. But in this game he gets a little, I don't know if we're going to call it unlucky or not, but let's get into this here. Persuade has sort of a standard opening. He's got the Altar of Kings, Barracks, usual human opening, gets his Archmage. Speed it up here. He sends a scout north, finds the green elf above him, and he sends a scout south. I think he sees it. Anyway, I'm pretty sure he saw Fail Life. A little bit about this game. There's double surround here. We have Fail Life Red Elf on the outside, Persuade and Green Elf Svedrico on the inside, and Ugerlanen on the other outside. In this game, spoiler, if you haven't seen the game and you don't want to know what happens, you probably shouldn't be watching this. But Fail Life is going to get Persuade much earlier than an elf would normally rush him, and Persuade is going to be caught off guard. His expansion is going to go down to a bunch of Dark Ranger minions, skeleton minions, and he's just going to fall behind and get taken out early. So now that the spoiler's out of the way, we're going to see why was Persuade caught off guard. So the first thing he does in this game is he comes in here, creeps his green count. Fine. It's pretty standard. I was saying before, sometimes human players, a human star does this a lot. I've seen Renon do it. Sometimes a lot of human players will build a lumberyard here early, like first couple buildings, so that they can upgrade their keep and build their expansion both in quick succession in the beginning. So he chose not to do that. Not a huge deal in my opinion, but just one thing to consider. He gets his expansion up pretty quickly here. No real full pause creeping outside of this footman nearly dying. Forgets the items briefly. Comes back. So in a double surround, you have two main options when you're in a surrounded position. You can do what is considered cross-map expanding, which is what I think Persuade was intending to do in this game. He comes over here and he creeps this expansion here, which is next to Ugerlanen, I think maybe his thought process is Ugri's a little bit more of a passive player, doesn't generally break out or show aggression on players in the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes is really not a time when we usually see a lot of aggression. It's usually where we'll see things like creep jacking and bad blood will start early in the first 10 minutes, and a lot of aggression in the under 10-minute zone is less common, especially from a non-solo oriented player, as Ugrilanen is not. So decent choice here. On 6-player maps, they're smaller, the spawns are closer, you've got more people that are going to try to compete with this cross-map expansion. So personally, myself, on 6-player maps, and this is just a player preference, but I like to take the second option, which is to base, rush someone. Go for a 15-minute or a 12-minute, or depending on your race, go for a push and break out. What we call breaking out is the idea of breaking out of your surround, taking out the outside player so that you are now the new outside player. It depends. It depends on the players and the positioning, but that's my preferred technique. However, cross-expanding has been proven to work. A lot of players make it work.
A player's forces are under attack.
Still on the Persuade cam here. He goes ahead and gets a quick AM level 3. Nothing too crazy here. Puts a ward up here so he can see who is going to take this, who's going to creep this, who's keeping knowledge at his fingertips. Gets his Shredder. Excellent thing. So in Silver Prime Forest we have 2 labs here. The Shredders become available, I believe, at I think it's 2300 of the first day. So you want to make sure, if you're planning on breaking out on someone, especially, you want to make sure that you're one of the 2 players to grab the Shredder. The other Shredder, not sure where the other Shredder went. Maybe Ugri got it. Anyway, not the point. So he gets a Shredder. So Persuade already has his expansion up. He's at tier 2, or at 6-minute mark. It's at tier 2. He's got his Shredder. Things are looking like he's in a decent position to sort of transition out from here. He grabs a panda and notices Fail has a panda too. That would indicate, most likely to him, because he has not scouted yet, that Fail started with either a Demon Hunter or a Dark Ranger. Probably a Dark Ranger. Gets an Orb of Darkness. Crappy item, what are you going to do? But pretty aggressive red creep here. And all of a sudden we get to the what moment. A lot of times when you get taken out early, you find yourself going, oh shit. And that moment is here. So Persuade has not built any towers. It's still pretty early. We're at the 7-minute mark. As I said, usually we don't see a lot of aggression before 10 minutes in free-for-all, except for particularly aggressive players or particularly aggressive strategies. Seeing a mass of level 2 dark minions and a level 3 and level 1 hero coming at you on the 7-minute mark is not exactly something that you would expect. Pandarian Brewmaster. Let's talk about this choice for Persuade here. He's against 2 elves and an undead. These armies are generally air armies. Most elves like to go Chippo, most undeads like to make Gargs. Pandarian Brewmaster is excellent against those things. I don't disagree with this choice. I don't disagree with it at all. I think that it's great to keep Chims missing, keep your tanks alive, your heroes alive. It helps if you are, when you're playing human, you've got tanks on the ground, you've got griffs in the air a lot of times, and you'll want to move your griffs around in a circle so that the hippos have to chase them through the tanks and all die. If they're running slowly from Drunken Haze, fine. Good choice. That choice doesn't necessarily help him out here. But let's get back into it. So he's got some red footmen. He's trying to finish up this creep camp, and he's creating an army of skeletons here for Fail Life. More towers? I don't know. It's hard to say. He could have probably built more towers, but he was just getting his Shredder. He didn't really have the wood. to just start making towers. He would have had to delay his tech, whatever. So at this point, there are so many damn skeletons, it's really just sort of a lost cause. He could try to go for the Dark Ranger. Had he a Mountain King, he probably could have nuked it, forced a TP, built up a bunch of towers, and been fine. But instead, Pandarian Brewmaster has to teleport. And from here, it's really just a losing battle. He tries for the hero kill, can't get it, doesn't get surrounded, tries to avoid the surround, kites. But now is where we must reevaluate. You're about to lose your natural. You're being rushed into a surround. You do not have a way of dealing with a follow-up if you lose this expansion. You'll be down too much. He's thinking to himself, okay, Dark Ranger ran away. I have 2 heroes. This guy's got a level 1 and a couple skeletons left. Let's rebuild our peasants. He's got his Arcane Sanctum and 2 blacksmiths. He was looking for a tech-heavy build here, but I'm not seeing another production building. If I were in Persuade's shoes right now, I would say that it's probably a good idea to start towering up. But as I said, at this point he's sort of in a really rough spot with the economy complete disbalance with his opponent. Ultimately, he doesn't know this, but Faillife's already got a 2nd expansion up. He's got the other Shredder. So, jumping back into it.
Our town is under siege. Job's done. Ready to work.
Ancient of War comes and helps. We can sort of rush through this. It's sort of exactly what you would expect. He fends as best he can, loses expansion, rushes to build some production facilities, loses his heroes eventually.
Job's done. Our hero has fallen.
And then he just doesn't have the gold to keep up when the Chim army finally comes in here in a minute. Fends it off.
Job's done. Ready to work.
Builds a tank. But any second now. He's trying to rebuild his town hall. He's got 1 tank. But surprise, you've got a whole bunch of chims in your base.
Job's done.
And that's sort of how it went.
Our forces are under attack.
Tries to force a TP. This is an excellent move, although it's just too little too late for us here. Going at somebody's expansion while they're in your main base, obviously your main base is down, but going someone's expansion or going someone else's base to force a TP can buy you a little time. Like if he was on 12k gold or something and someone caught him with his pants down, got in his main, was about to destroy it, and he forced a TP, that would give him some extra time to build units, but at this point it's a little too late.
Job's done. Our town is under
Let's just break
siege.
through here. So Persuade does the honorable thing, kills his own guys, and leaves. So, brief takeaway, he got hit before the 10-minute mark. Before the 10-minute mark is not something most free-for-all players expect, but it is a reality, it happens. I think that in Persuade's shoes, Faillife probably wasn't a player he knew. It's not a player I knew before I watched this. He probably wasn't sure exactly what to expect. It probably would have been wiser for him to get a closer eye on his outside partner early. Probably would have had a good indication that Fail was coming for him, and it was an unusual. As I said, there were some oddities about how he got rushed out this game, but I think that just a little bit closer attention to exactly what your outside partner is doing. Generally, your inside partner is not going to rush you. He's going to go for him, and you're going to go for him. But the 7-minute mark, as I said, is nothing. So, Persuade's fault, not Persuade's fault. It's really sort of a moot point, but the importance of scouting starts early. It's not just something to do once we get to the 10-minute point. And yeah, I think that maybe an arcane tower or two would have been really helpful as expansion. Uh, Losing all 7 or 8 of those peasants, whatever there were, to give him a giant army to take out his expansion, and give Red the gold advantage immediately, was sort of a big deal. He might have been able to keep up in gold if he had cross-expanded earlier, but again, that's a very aggressive expansion to take before you're even teched up. So I think the elf just executed a pretty solid rush here. Persuade wasn't expecting it, got caught off guard. Slightly better scouting maybe, but overall, fine. Let's move on to the next game. I'd like to jump into F3. Our first person cam here is going to be Hugues GM. GM is a good player. He did. I don't know if he's been in the league before or not, but I do know that he was pretty active on the ladder. Quick thing about this game, he's the outside of a single surround. Gears is in the middle. Gears is a sort of newer, less free-for-all experienced player. He ends up going for FD. GM clears, creeps, expands well. Sexy's sort of up here and just dominates him a little bit later. So we'll get to what went wrong in a minute. So pretty standard opening for him. He opens Fiends.
Summon is complete. Summoning is complete.
Builds a graveyard over here. Good, lots of early wood. Creeps a green camp.
Our forces are under attack.
Creeps another green camp. Goes for his expansion. Uses his scouting echo. Nice. And then he gets a shredder. As I mentioned before, shredders are important.
Upgrade complete.
Looking like a fairly good start. I believe he's only scouted to this mine and this mine. His expansion's up.
Stand ready.
Comes over here. He sees Sexy. What did he just see? He sees 3-1 Sexy. He's pretty much matching Sexy's creeps. Gets an early red camp. Tome of Experience, always very nice. Cloak of Flames, useless. I guess he cleans this up. Another Tome of Experience, which he chooses to leave behind. Fire Dragon is raging at the moment because I guess the solo player is rushing him, which GM I'm sure is quite happy about. However, first moment. We're at the 10-minute mark. 10-minute mark we have... Let's see exactly what's going on here. We've seen chat. He's seen chat from Fire Dragon indicating that that Gears has been putting pressure on him very early before that 10-minute mark. Sort of what I was talking about before. Can cause some players to rage, and in this case does. Now he knows he's on the outside of a surround and that the surround guy is trying to break out. So to him, this would be a clear indication of I am going to be fighting Sexy. Period. I'm going to be fighting the green orc in the top right because the other two are fighting, and he's going to be my opponent. Unless blue, if for some reason decides to change his mind, peace, and suddenly break on you, it's 99% sure he's going to be fighting the green orc here. At this point, my first instinct would be to instantly see how many expansions does green have. What kind of army comps does he have? What are his hero levels? Where is he? What's he doing? And keep something on him right away. He's at tier 3. He's got a sacrificial pit, but I'm not seeing a shade anywhere yet. So let's see how it goes.
The night
Gets his third hero up, builds his first boneyard. He's still got a fiend ghoul army here. Still no scout. He sees he sees the expansion here. He chooses to ignore it and go creep, which is fine. I don't have anything I don't have anything to say really about choosing to creep instead of kill that expansion. It's, you know, perfectly logical decision to go ahead and get some more experience before you fight. But still, there's no what's going on up here, what's going on up here going on. No thought being put into it at all, really. Damned returns. Okay, so he's got his first shade. We're at 11 minutes. Shade's still here.
Our forces are under attack.
Stand ready.
Shade's still here. Shade's still here. Creep some more.
Ready.
Shade's still here. Fire Dragon continues to chat more about how he's getting soloed.
Is complete.
Still no scout. 12 minutes. More good creeping, whatever. Nothing wrong with that. Sexy is obviously scouting him. That Witch Doctor is making it very clear that Sexy wants to know exactly what's going on with him. More indication that you're about to get hit. You're about to get hit. He's bringing the Shade with him now. Okay, he wants to get rid of the wards. Perfectly logical. Wants to keep up on, you know, Blade Master creeping up on him.
Research complete.
Yeah.
Summoning
He still doesn't really know what's going on up here.
is complete.
Doesn't really know if he's breaking. Doesn't know when he broke.
Is complete.
If he did already. And now he's breaking. Let's talk about why he's breaking. He doesn't really know that Sexy's already going 80. Because his camera does not indicate that he would have any idea of that. But he probably caught wind of, well, they're still fighting. Green's, you know, Fire Dragon's chat saying, is green all I've got, means Sexy built an army. Oh, if they're fighting, he must be coming for me. This is, if I was GM, probably what I'd be thinking, uh-oh. So he builds from his boneyard, and he builds a fiend army. To our first fight here. Goes off and kills Sexy's vision, just good. Nothing wrong there. He breaks 80. And then he comes across this. 82. He sees this nasty orc army. Sexy's only at 80. And these heroes are 432. Who's that? Frost Dragon. Frost Worm, rather. More fiends. Well, here comes. First expansion goes down. Mass Whivs. Casters. Level 3 Tauren Chieftain. He's gonna teleport in. Nope. Too late. So now he's down an expansion, which he put up later. Much later. But this one really is gonna all come down. I'll give you a little preview here. It's gonna come down to army comp. GM broke pretty much. He broke just in time. Had he built the correct army, he probably would have had an easier time. But we've got fiends and 2 frost worms, one of which is now dead, and 2 destroyers. Oh, yes, 2 destroyers and statues. Well, let's see how this goes. I focus down the worms. I stun all your stuff. Good sleep going off. Stuff here, but too much focus fire. Too much damage. The fiends just don't web anything down. And this fight is not even a fight. So let's talk. We've got 2 crypts, 2 slaughterhouse, 2 boneyard. I'm not an undead expert by any means, but I do believe, according to most undeads that I've talked to, you really want to be building a Garg army here. Having 2 production facilities of a 2 food unit, not enough. I would have gone more crypts here, at least more units more quickly. He chose the right time to break. He had a feeling, he had a hunch, he didn't scout, he had used that experience, and he said, you know, Sexy's probably coming here. But but he didn't have the right army, and he sort of gets stomped on. Had he had more crypts, he probably would have been able to pump out Gargs here. But after that first fight going so incredibly poorly, it's not really a recoverable situation for him. And that's sort of how it goes. So in this one, Yeah, army comp. Really, when it comes down to it, you want to make sure you know what the guy that you're going to be fighting has. What is his army? Ultimately, I'm not an expert on the undead versus orc matchup myself, but I can tell you that the army he built was not tailored to this, tailored to fight this army. And so, even though he had a feeling, he broke at the right time, he figured out that Sexy's probably coming for me, he did not build the right units to fight it. So, Scout earlier, he didn't end up dying until the 20-minute mark. Yeah, army comp, Scout. Woo. Next. Going over to F4. This was a fun game. I liked watching this game. We're going to watch from the SK2 flash cam. Quick thing about this game, we've got another double surround. We've got Mog, J33, SK2 flash, and Human Star. SK2 Flash ends up fighting Human Star for a while, puts a big fight up. There's really not too much to say here in terms of mistakes, as just he lost the 1v1. You can sort of breeze through some of this early stuff. Standard opening.
Summoning is complete. Summoning is complete. The dam stand ready. Summoning is complete.
But ultimately, I believe, if I recall correctly, this comes down to army comp as well. He goes for a fast expansion immediately off the bat. Gets level 2. There's really not a lot of action for most of the beginning of this game. He scouts out Humi, puts a ward in his base, knows exactly what's going on. Excellent decision. Steals some of his creeps, which is good. When you're surrounded especially, but really in general, creeping in free-for-all is not intuitive to a lot of players. I'll do a segment on creeping in the future, I'm sure. But your creeps are next to your base, so somebody else coming next to your base is risky later on. So if you want to, you probably want to go for creeps that are further away and get more of them. It's really a creep competition most times in free-for-all, so you want to try and get creeps that aren't close to your base if you can, which he does, which is good. So pretty solid opening so far, not really much to complain about.
The damned stand ready.
It's creeping well. Goes for the red camp here.
Ready is complete. The damned stand ready.
Doesn't take too much damage on his Death Knight. No Shredder there.
Our forces are under attack.
More creeping on the other side, which is good. He chooses not to make war with his inside partner, which is good.
Upgrade complete.
He does not, he sort of jacks Mog. He comes up to him and goes, huh? And Mog's just like, alright, fine, I'll walk away. But he didn't intentionally kill Mog's units, so there's nothing wrong with that move. Didn't really make any enemies there, just sort of whatever. Got a Shredder. Good.
Research complete.
And now he says, okay, this is the guy I'm probably going to break on. Let me show some aggression here. And tries to stop him from taking his 4th expansion. He's going to try to go for this cross expansion here to match Yumi's 3. Yumi's got these 3. And they're still sort of playing nice, but not really. So he's gonna fight Humi for this, which is perfectly acceptable. Kills off human hero and takes his rightful expansion. Now, let's talk about this position here. We're at 2600 canceled an expansion. We can safely assume that the human has slightly more gold. I think he does. Yeah. Slightly more gold because he's on one more expansion. But this expansion probably went up pretty recently. So he probably hasn't been able to use it to its fullest. Should we break here? Yes or no? Just keep that in mind. So he puts this expansion up,
Our forces are under attack.
comes down here, try to find some more creeps.
The damned stand ready. Summoning is complete. The
Go
damned
shopping.
Stand ready. Summoning
Ignores
is complete.
J33. Does some more creeping.
Summoning is complete. Summoning is complete. Summoning is complete. Summoning is complete.
Gets his shades up. Pokes around in the human base. Really solid. Nothing to complain about here.
Summoning is complete. The damned stand ready.
Goes over 50 for just a second, but quickly kills a ghoul to make up for it.
Our forces are under attack.
And it goes 50.
Summoning is complete.
And they decide to split it and horde evenly.
Summoning.
And you know what? Sometimes that's okay. If you've got good vision on your
Summoning is complete.
opponent's, your most likely opponent's production facilities,
Is under attack.
and you know what's going on,
Our forces are under attack.
it's fine to horde. He sees these towers. He goes, alright. So he breaks. What does he break for? Yeah, he breaks for fiends. I believe. Get some good micro in here against Tooney in the center.
Research complete.
Kills off hero.
Upgrade. Our forces are under attack. Research complete.
Let's get to our first big skirmish. So he's at 65 and Hume is at 77. They break at the same time. He's going tank griff. And SK is going for fiends
Summoning is complete.
with banshees and statues
Our forces are
and destroyers. Comes in here, lays into these towers a little bit. Besides, maybe that's not such a good idea. Comes over here, kills the tank. He goes 100. Or does he? No, he doesn't. I'm just kidding. And there's a big mistake with the TP there. So, micro mistake here. Accidentally leaves behind his second hero. But we've got the meat wagons over here playing defense on these tanks well. Perfect. Can't really complain about that. But the Lich here gets a little isolated. I think, does he save it? I can't remember. Yeah, he does. Picks off. So Fiend's doing alright here. Picking off these guys, and with the meat wagons protecting his expansion, not really anything to complain about here. Apparently Hume's getting some delay. He's gonna take down this expansion. Try to anyway. All in all, fine. It's gonna teleport. Just DK. Stay. Fight. Still no real mistakes. Still even gold. Mines. And he's switching to a Garg army, which is good. Sees a lot of heavy air units, switches to Gargs just on time. Seems fine. Over here. He's gonna TP here. This was sort of a good move from Hume. He split up the army, so he forced him to TP over here and then instantly TP over here. It doesn't really pay off for him, but in theory, it was a pretty good idea. But these undead heroes are getting high. We really can't complain about this. Right now, he really needs to be putting these back on here. I don't really know what these guys are doing up here, but yeah, all in all, these fights are just sort of going fine. He just sort of falls behind in econ here. Humi gets this up here. He doesn't get a TP off, doesn't save it, doesn't deal with these towers, and the relentless tanking just sort of takes its toll on his gold. He gets caught down gold and eventually goes out.
Our forces are under attack. Summoning is complete.
So yeah, Humi's obviously a really strong human player. He puts up a fight here. It really does take his toll on him. I think he has a micro certainly comparable, if not equal to or better than Humi's micro. He's a skilled player, but you know, he just fell behind in golds, fell behind in econ, and even though his heroes are good, it just wasn't enough. Were I in S-Gate's position next time against Humi, there were some times earlier on where a little aggression might not have hurt. Maybe some checking of that third expansion. When it went up. His third expansion, obviously, the red camp, went up a lot later than Humi's. The slight gold advantage of Humi could have helped, but you know, ultimately, the cross-map expanding I was talking about before on a 6-player map, this thing is so far from where you live down here. For you to defend this and this, Humi showed us a little bit why. You know, I can hit you here, and then I can hit you here, and you're TPing and wasting all your gold, running around like a madman with your head cut off. A chicken with your head cut off, rather. Like a madman or a chicken with your head cut off. But ultimately, you know, spreading yourself thin. So, I don't know. A breakout strategy might have been better. Or maybe not. But I think that really what ended up killing him was the distance between this expansion and his base, and spreading himself too thin on his resources, being outgolded in the end. He hangs in here for a really long time though, and puts a huge dent in Humi's economy. The fact that he still ends up winning this game is a feat for sure.
I laughed in the face of danger.
Our gold mine has collapsed. Our town is under attack. Summoning.
TP's in here, gets an Archmage. Really just wonderful control from this player. I really like him. I played a couple custom games with him, but I hadn't seen any of his games before this. But no matter how good your control is, when you're fighting 50 versus 74, it's only a matter of time. Fast.
Summoning is complete.
Hanging in.
Stand ready. The dam stand ready.
Now he's down to 164 gold. Still hanging in there, like a champ. Not losing heroes. Just slowly getting picked off one at a time. Human specialty.
The dam stand ready.
It's at this point that I think he did some chatting, but I don't know. If I were in his shoes, I might have tried a little bit of chatting sooner about, you know, hey elves, guess what, blah blah blah, this, you know, this human player here is totally got all the 4 mines, he's way ahead, you know, even if it's not true, getting the elves to stop fighting to come save you is not a terrible decision. And then here he tries to rebuild with, yeah, I mean, I would have chatted a little sooner. But he did the honorable thing, he just wanted to use this thing. Rebuilding heroes here was probably sort of not necessary. It's sort of a feed. I think it ends up just sort of being a feed. It's a Humi who comes in here and finishes him momentarily. But yeah, probably could have tried some chat, some chat a little bit sooner. And as I said, a breakout strategy as opposed to a cross expand would have been probably better in my opinion. Yeah, this sort of goes the way as you expect it to.
Our hero has been killed.
Alright, lastly, come to the my favorite replay of the batch, F1. So, this game was awesome. I really liked watching this game. A lot of stuff for us to learn here. First, talk about the players and spawns a little bit. We've got Maga and Wan, two solid undead players, one free-for-all expert, one solo expert. Down here, the fearsome lightweight playing his human, and Dark Flame Master, solid elf player, probably better than myself by a wide margin, in the bottom left. So even spawns, the undeads are next to each other, and the human and elf are next to each other. We're going to be following our favorite elf here, Dark Flame Master, today. Spoiler alert, he ends up dying to mass tanks. No surprise there. All elves hate tanks. So let's get into it. So DFM has sort of a standard opening. Come on. There we go. Sound. He goes for a Dark Ranger opening, and he does an incredible job creeping. I really like what he does here at the beginning. He creeps the natural of this empty slot here. He creeps this. He scouts over here early, sees that nobody's there, and that Maga's up here next to Wan, who's probably gonna get soloed. Says, "Oh, you know what? Why don't I put?" This is sort of an aggressive move, but I really liked it. Why don't I quickly creep this natural expansion first, and then go get mine? Put two expansions down quickly. And have a huge gold advantage over whoever I choose to fight. So he does some really good creeping, lots of skeletons, some quick heals. Level 3 Dark Ranger, getting those level 2 Dark minions. Some more healing. Scout comes in, gets his panda. There's the silence creep. It's great. Red camp. 2 red camps. It's incredible. Getting 2 red camps. It's really solid play right there. Just all the skeletons. Dark Ranger is so good at creeping. He's got a Staff of Silence on his panda. And this silence creep is just really good. Uses the haze to make the miss. Keeps Bloodlust off. Just really good. Really good all around. Megadancy comes in here. He sees him come in looking for these creeps. He says, you know, maybe I can get the item off this guy really quick before Maga comes down here and checks me. Grabs them. Says, oh, I see nuke range. Why don't I just run off? Fine. Give it to Maga. Fine. So, yeah, he's at 50, 3 heroes, Shredder, incoming, and he starts hoarding, which is fine. He has not done enough scouting of lightweight, so we're at the 10-minute mark, which I was talking about earlier. He's got a human next to him who's got just as many mines as he does. What he doesn't know is that he has less gold, but he probably could have inferred that because he expanded so much more quickly than everybody else. He's just finished his first 2 roosts. He's still building up his tech. He got a late shredder. His wood is not especially great right now, but he doesn't really know exactly what's going on in the lightweight camp right now. He still hasn't built a hippogriff here to scout because he has no Priestess of the Moon, but he does build one pretty quickly. So he sends an illusion. He's commenting on the spawns a little late, but that is what it is. But it looks like a very passive game here so far for everybody, for all he can see. Just goes and gets shops it up.
Research finished.
Stack that panda.
Research Sacred Grove is being desecrated.
And he builds a hippogriff, which he then sends off to scout Maga. I guess what he's thinking here is
Your building is
Maga and I are competing for expansions. Lightweight will fight Wan, or Wan will fight him. But he then sees
research finished.
this. Wan attacking
finished.
lightweights. Pause. So we're at 14 minutes now. We see Wan fighting Maga. Not really a clear indication of who's winning. But you've got 7k gold. You've got 2,500 wood. You've got your shredder though. Let's see. He's putting an AP down. He's putting another Ancient of Wind. He's only got 3 Chim Roosts. To break or not to break? Let's see what Lightweight's doing at the same time. Lightweight is not broken. He has less gold, less wood. He's still upgrading. He's building his first tank, which does not have many upgrades, I believe.
Forces are under attack.
So, I don't know. I mean, in this position, breaking with 7k, he probably wants a little more. He thinks maybe Lightweight will
Research
wait,
finished.
but he sees them fighting. He knows Lightweight's probably
Your
got it.
building
He
is
should
complete.
know. If he doesn't, he should know Lightweight, Trigger Finger's probably incoming pretty soon. He's going to want to fight. Gets his, he's getting his tech up. He's just, playing happy
Your
here.
building
Gets
is
more Chim Roosts. He plays it
Research
safe.
finished.
But that might have been a decent opportunity to break, in my opinion. Might have been a decent chance to come in here and knock out Lightweight's expansions. Dark Flame Master has probably the strongest elf creep in the league. Sorry, elf micro in the league. If anybody's going to be able to take out a human one up, straight up, it's probably
Your
him.
building is
Research
complete.
finished. But he wants some more gold, and gold's fine. Elves are greedy, as people say, but there's a good reason for that.
Your building is
Our army
complete.
goes.
Your building
Our army is
complete.
expensive, and it dies pretty easily. A lot of squishy things, a lot of suiciding hippos into Gargs, a lot of Chims getting picked off,
Your building,
expensive
your building
units
is complete.
that
Your
are
building
not
is
very
complete.
resilient. Yeah. And the oh shit moment. So it's just one tank, which has 2/2 upgrades, and 3 human heroes, which are all low. But he's got a human in his base. He's gonna save the shredder, which is great. And nothing awful's going on here. He's gonna try to fend this off, but it's gonna be hard. 3 heroes versus 3 heroes and a tank. Nothing terrible here, but a bash, a bolt, and a nuke. There it goes.
Our
So,
champion has fallen.
bam. Now we're in DFM's position. He's about to lose this hero too.
Our sacred grove is being
Now we're in,
desecrated.
I have 1 hero, 11,000 gold, and no units. And there are breakers and tanks coming my way. Never fun. He's got his Ancients of Wars, so that's good. Let's see how he chooses to deal with this.
Our
17-minute
sacred
mark.
grove is being
Bam!
desecrated. Has
All the
fallen.
chims. Fine. It's good. Dryads. Perfectly logical. Glaives, maybe? Don't know. He chooses
Your
not to.
building is complete.
More chims.
Our sacred
chims.
grove is being desecrated.
He's gonna spam that breath of fire.
Ah, the great outdoors.
He chats early. It's always good to chat early.
Our sacred grove
Especially
is
when
being
it looks like
desecrated.
this.
Our warriors have engaged
This
the enemy.
slight overlook here ends up losing his expansion to 1 tank when he probably could have uprooted and healed it. But when you've got this in your base, it's
Ah,
understandable.
Great outdoors.
So yeah, it's the tank thing, man. They come in, you've got 10k, and then
Our
my
sacred
base
grove
is going
being
down.
desecrated.
DFM does hang in here for a long time. Loses his tree here.
Our sacred grove is being
And
desecrated.
forces a TP. So, but now he's food blocked, has no wood. He's in a lousy position. No expansion. So ultimately, what it comes down to is he got caught with his pants down, and we have to constantly tell yourself in these positions is when you hear that people are fighting, what's that other guy going to do? Is he going to horde with you? If you're hoarding, is he going to horde with you, or is he going to hit you? And make sure that you've got something to deal with what he's coming at you. You know, we saw it in GM's game. He had a feeling Sexy was going to be fighting him soon, but didn't scout and see exactly what was going on, exactly what army comp he was building, wasn't ready for it, got taken down. We saw it in this game. Didn't check Lightweight's productions buildings with that Hippogriff. Instead, went to see what Maga was doing. And then when he saw Maga and Wen were fighting, didn't instantly break or panikedly look over at Lightweight's base to see what's going on. Instead, it was, tanks in my base. What else did we look at? SK and Humi were, you know, that was sort of fine there. I actually probably could have looked briefly at Mog's situation. He got a little caught off guard, but he fended it fine and didn't lose because of it. And Persuade got rushed out by mass skeletons with no tanks and arcane, no towers or arcanes. So that's that. DFM fights valiantly here, and then Maga tries to clean him up and finishes it off. But yeah, here comes Lightweight comes in with 80. Some good solid micro here.
The great outdoors.
All the ancients.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
But it's just not enough.
Your building is complete.
Alright, so this was my first week of trying to analyze some situations here. If you enjoyed the cast here, just give me some feedback. I'm gonna post it in the FML page. I tried to keep it sort of a simpler topic. Why did you get 4th place? To start off here, but I'll try to get into some more of the free-for-all specific complex ideas once we get into later weeks. Teaming and when exactly breaking, discussing things like that, and we can get into that later. But I just sort of threw this together, looked at the replays pretty quick, and thought of a couple things that I could talk about. And yeah, let me know if you like it. Poor DFM. Maga comes in here and makes him unhappy. This was really a great game. If you haven't seen the rest of it, you really should watch it. But alright, that's it for me. Hope you had a good time, enjoyed the cast here, and let me know what you think. Stream post will be up on the page momentarily. Have a good night / morning, depending on where you are.